we are going to be doing a little bit different format today than I've done in the past. And you guys were kind enough on my post from earlier this last week to provide me some music selections, some songs that you thought I might enjoy reacting to. Certainly you wanted to see me react to them. And I had a plethora of songs from Simon and Garfunkel to Theocracy, from U2 to some death metal. And there's a lot that I could react to, but I can only pick one. And while I'm only picking one today, rest assured some of these others will definitely get some attention in the future. There we go. So you guys are hearing me. So that being said, we're going to listen to the song together. You're going to see my reaction to it. You may or may not be familiar with the song as well, and so you might be reacting to it, and you can post your comments about that as well. It's going to be fun. And then we'll talk a little bit about my gut reaction to the lyrics and stuff. And again, I haven't done any study specific to the song, so we're going to look at the lyrics and see, weigh them against the faith once delivered to the saints in this great book here, the Bible, and see how the Lord might use some of what is in the lyrical content to provoke us to thought and to make us consider ourselves and the Lord, maybe even in a deeper way. And the Lord's done that in my life with songs that are not overtly Christian. Just because a band is not booked or billed as a Christian band doesn't mean that they have not put together some very profound lyrical content that we can react to. And many times there are Christians in the band, although the band is not an overtly evangelical band that's out there with their main goal to save souls. They may have Christians in the band that are contributing to the writing of the lyrical content, and it's coming through in their experiences. And so with all that, I'm sure everybody's wondering with bated breath, right? What is the song that Don's going to refer to? Well, my friend Craig Marshall jumped in, and he wanted to make sure that I captured good music. The Beeb. Yeah, it's not going to be him, actually. No, that's not going to happen. But maybe one day we can react to a Justin Bieber song. But that is not what I picked today. What I have picked today is Megadeth. Megadeth. Now, I was a big Megadeth fan back in my teenage years. Shortly after being introduced to Metallica, I got introduced to Megadeth, and I love those guys. The first album I bought by them was Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? And then subsequent to that, I went back and bought their early release, which would have been Killing's My Business and Business is Good, I believe is what that one's called. So I was very familiar with them and followed them with great anticipation for all of their releases early on. And as the Lord progressed me in my faith, I started focusing on things that were more important to me at the time. And honestly, I just didn't follow them. And so they've written a lot of music in the 2000s, right, in this new millennia. And here we are now. I'm going to hear some of this music that was put together and written by Dave Mustaine through the years. And I was told by a couple people on the thread to listen to this particular song, and I've been told that it's the most overtly Christian, I guess lyrically, song that Megadeth has ever produced. And that's this song called "Never Walk Alone: A Call to Arms." And so with that, let's just make sure that I can get good sound here. I am hoping I can. And we're going to listen to this song together, and I'm going to react to it. Wow. Wow. Okay, all right, hold on. Really? That strikes you right, and then it hits you like a freight train right in the face, right? There's no intro. It just, boom, right, hits you right in the face. I want to go back and listen to that again. Okay, I love this. I love the tempo change there. The cadence changes right there. I'm going to bring it back there. Just listen to that right there. That's awesome. Right here. Wow. Oh, that's awesome right there. Whoa. I know your enemy, it once was me. Wow. That's, wow. Okay. Oh, I love that. Wow. Okay. Okay, think about that. I loved you when you still hated me. That's awesome, dude. We're going to talk about that. That's going to be great to talk about right there. Wow. Oh, love the solo. Love it. Oh, nice. So now we're contemplating, maybe contemplating what's been said. Love the sound. It's an awesome sound. Wow. Nice. Wow. 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 That is a good song. That is a really, really good song. Let's talk about that music for a minute here. I'm gonna just kind of play that in the background here a little bit. So I love that it comes out and slams you right in the face. Are you kidding me? This is the Megadeth that I remember, actually. But I like it because there's so, you know, can I tell you, anytime I've heard something new from Megadeth, I know it's them. And part of that's just because of his voice. There's such a distinct voice that this guy has, Dave Mustaine. And so, I mean, he opens his mouth and you immediately know it's him. But there's also a cadence in a certain way that he develops a song that kind of that kind of, it's pretty unique and pretty Megadeth. I mean, it's really them. I've kind of learned to expect that, and when he doesn't do that, then it's a little unusual to me. So that being said, it really is awesome. I like how it just drives you right in the face, but then when it goes to the chorus, it slows down and goes to a different cadence. And and then there's a great solo fill before that second verse, and then when it gets to the solo, of course, it's a phenomenal solo, man. I want to go back and study that solo a little bit more. When it comes out of it, though, it goes in a more contemplative, a contemplative time in the song. It slows down and more mesmerizing, and it really makes you think a bit more. Hey, Joe. I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well, my friend. And so it's almost as though he's given like a pregnant pause, if you will, to think about what it is that he just wrote about. And so we'll take a look at the lyrics here in a minute, but I do want to talk. Some people have heard me say this or tell this story in the past, but again, when I was a kid in high school, I loved Megadeth, and I had the Peace Sells But Who's Dying T-shirt, right? So that was an amazing shirt, and I was into concert shirts and band shirts. I really wanted those. Well, I was getting introduced into a lot of Christian music when I was in high school that I had never heard before, and I got turned on to Bloodgood, and I loved the first Bloodgood album and the second album, Detonation. So I loved Bloodgood and Detonation, and I saw this dude in high school that was wearing a Bloodgood T-shirt. Man, he was wearing this shirt right here. And I was like, dude, I want that shirt. And he's like, dude, you can't have it, because I would be walking around school without a shirt on. He said, oh, you know what? I'll trade you my Megadeth Peace Sells But Who's Buying shirt for the Bloodgood shirt. And that was my bartering transaction. This guy wanted. Oh, man. So, but that was a fun story. So we swapped shirts right there at school, and I was wearing the Bloodgood shirt with his sweat, and he was wearing my Megadeth shirt with my sweat and everything else. But I got my Bloodgood shirt because I didn't know where I was going to get one of those. It was long before I had a chance to see him play live. And I think that actually, incidentally, the first place I heard Bloodgood play was at the Odeum. And my friend Joe Mizey, who's on today, probably remembers going, I think the name of the place is called the Odeum. Does that sound right, Joe? And I saw Stryper play there. I saw Bloodgood play there with White Cross opening up for them. I saw Barren Cross on the Atomic Arena tour play there, and they had a Sacred Warrior opening for them. And there was somebody else, but I can't recall who that played that night. But I remember it real distinctly because Sacred Warrior could only play a couple, like 2 or 3 songs before Ray's voice gave out. And so they didn't do a whole set. So that was disappointing, but fun to see Barren Cross back in the day. And so anyway, so that was my fun little T-shirt story about Megadeth. But I did want to take time to really, and I'm going to move over so we can look at these lyrics together a bit. I want to talk a little bit about the lyrical content. It's an awesome song. It just hits you in the face. I love what it's saying. I want to think about a little bit on the fly here now what they're saying in the song. Because can I stop and tell you that it's important, it's really important as a believer to know what it is you're putting in your mind. And I love all kinds of music, all different kinds of styles. And back in the day, back when I was a young man, I loved Slayer. But honestly, it just wasn't good for me to listen to them. It wasn't. For a myriad of reasons. In Villa Park, that's right. Joe Maya said, yep. Yeah, it was the Odeum, okay. So you were there too, Joe, that's awesome. But it's important for us to really think about what we're putting into our mind, because our mind it's a sponge. It's going to take that in. And honestly, we need to spend more time meditating on the truth of God, the law of God, meaning His Word, right? And the promises of God, and spending time in prayer and having music that's feeding that relationship with the Lord. And again, it doesn't need to be overtly Christian. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there is certain music, and you'll know yourself, if it's music that when you're listening to it, it really puts your mind and your heart to a place where it shouldn't, or where you really, it's compromising your heart. And he who knows the good he ought to do and does not do it sins. And so if you have a conviction over particular music, I by no means want you to, would advocate that you listen to that. But that's different than making a blanket statement that you can't listen to this. I'm telling you, it's absolutely sinful to listen to this. That's not it. Because it's not about genre. It's not about whether or not it's overtly evangelical. But we shouldn't go about listening to stuff, and particularly for extended periods of time where we're just garbage in and then it's garbage out, and then we wonder why our mind goes into the gutter or this or that. And so, because man, listen, man, if there's an AC/DC riff, man, I love me some AC/DC, right? I know what their lyrical content's about, and I need to make sure that I keep my mind pure. And so I got to be careful with that. I just have to be careful with that. But I love their music, and I love some Megadeth, but this song, it appears, and I could be wrong, but it appears to me, it has some pretty interesting lyrical content. So he goes, hiding in any doorway, in any shadow, any place where danger waits to kill my time. There is one who loves and waits to seal your fate, as sure as you live and die. Live and die, live and die. So let's think about that for a second. Hiding in any doorway. So I think what he's saying is wherever you are, lurking behind any corner, you could say, right? But hiding in any doorway, in any shadow, any place where danger waits to kill my time. Danger waits to kill my time. Think about that for a moment. All these things that we can do in our lives that can kill us. We're just killing time, right? I'm filling space. I'm filling the void with whatever. And this isn't just unbelievers. I think believers, we do this too, as we find other ways other than running to the cross or running to Christ to find solace for our soul. Through union with Christ, we find other things to do, whether it's watching TV, watching a movie, even listening to music, work, family. They could all be good things, but we could be using them to really avoid things. But as sure as you live and die. So as there's one who, but everywhere you go, though, in the middle of that, there's the one who loves and waits to seal your fate. There is one who loves and waits to seal your fate. So I think he's already pointing to God. There's one who loves you and will seal your fate. So that's a really interesting start to the song, isn't it? Right out of the gate. And then he says, when you feel that something's wrong, I'll shelter you and keep you warm. I'll never let you walk alone. I loved you when you still hated me. So now he's talking, I think, it seems to me like he's talking about somebody who's not converted. But they're starting to sense that there's something wrong. They're starting to get an idea in their mind that, you know what? Things are amiss, as they would say in Bill and Ted, at the Circle K. So God, here he is. He will shelter and keep you warm. He's protecting his flock. He's protecting this person as he's bringing him to the Lord. Remember, the Lamb was slain before the foundation of the earth, and the Lord sets his affection upon his people from all eternity. And so now you see in the lyrics here, this is really interesting. I like this. I really like, very powerful actually. I'll shelter you and keep you warm. I'll never let you walk alone. So God is with you. I loved you when you still hated me. So here's God loving us when he said, now where do we see that? We were once haters of God, right? Paul tells us that. Paul tells us that we were once, enemies with God and in enmity with him, and the wrath of God abided upon us. And we see that in Ephesians, we see that in Romans right out of the gate, that the wrath of God is upon those who are persist in our unrighteousness. We resist the truth in unrighteousness, right? But God has an affection for his people that predates my birth. And so God enters in, and he's loving while we are actively hating him. That's really actually, honestly, I never thought I would live to see the day where I would have there would be a Megadeth song that actually had this in it. This is amazing. And then he goes on next and he says, let me wrap my arms all around you. Suffer the trespasses that you have made. Oh, wow. I will drink your pain away forever and a day. So now I think he's pointing to the cross here. He's saying, I'm going to suffer the trespasses. You take him upon himself. He who knew no sin became sin for us, that we might become the righteousness of God in him. That great exchange that we've talked about in other chats, where God takes my sin And the one who knew no sin, my sin bearer, Jesus Christ, takes that sin upon him. He becomes sin for me. And now the wrath of God is poured out. So he's drinking that onto me. This is amazing. Good evening. Hey, Roger. Great to have you on with us, Roger West. Talking about a Megadeth song right now and some lyrical content behind this song. So let me wrap my arms around you, suffer the trespasses that you have made. I will drink your pain away. And what pain is the pain of the wrath of God. And all that brokenness that we have, because we are so broken as the Lord shows us our sin and shows us. And we've been desperately going after so many other things, as he says in every corner, right in that darkness, that we're trying to find something. But only God will satisfy what we really need in our brokenness. And it doesn't mean that we're ipso facto done with all brokenness after we come to him. So we keep coming back to him, knowing that he will shelter and keep us warm and never let us walk alone. So this is a great song. There's an evangelical edge to this song, but I think there's a great comfort and also an encouragement for believers in this song. And I love that. So then he says, so how do you get this? It looks like he's saying, if you just call out my name, if you just call out my name, if you just call, even whisper it, even a whisper, right? In our brokenness, many times, all we can do is just kind of, And can I tell you, it's not about the altar call. It's not about that moment in time, that just that one single time. The Lord is saved and is saving and will save me. And the Lord, in his process of working in the heart of a believer, it could be the smallest thing where somebody's reaching out to God in all their brokenness and realizing that they are a sinner and need the grace of God. So actually, honestly, this is an amazing song as I'm thinking about it. Let's look and see what else the song has to say. I think it might just be somewhat redundant now, and what I mean is I think that he gets into the solos and so he goes over and over the same thing. When you feel that something's wrong, I'll shelter you and keep you warm. I'll never let you walk alone. I loved you when you still hated me. I'm coming and it won't be long. Oh no, this is new. This is new. I'm coming and it won't be long. So second coming, it's time to reap what I have sown. Never let you walk alone. I know your enemy, it once was me. So I'm coming and it won't be long. So this imminent return of the Lord as well, I think, is where he's pointing in this as well. And then he says, when you feel something's wrong, I'll shelter you and keep you warm. I'll never let you walk alone. I loved you when you still hated me. And then he repeats and repeats. And so what a great, so honestly, this is a great song. I think Scott Heron posted this one initially, and some others either liked it and then also commented on it. But it's a great song selection to really talk about, honestly, and to react to. I love the song. Yeah, musically it's phenomenal, and like I said, I've always loved Megadeth. So to me, this is a great tune, but also great lyrics, and it makes me want to go back and listen to more songs off the album. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's maybe another song on the album that I end up wanting to respond to or something. But at the end of the day, this is a fun song, and really, I think, interesting in terms of, here's where I think, bands like this can really have a huge impact, because a lot of folks that are listening to metal aren't going to listen to a lot of quote-unquote evangelical Christian metal, right? But they may be following Megadeth. And I know people have a lot of strong opinions about Metallica, about Megadeth and other bands, and some of the history behind those bands and how they connect and all that. And can I tell you, one of the worst things to do is go out and look at some of these sites, whether it's Blabbermouth or Loudwire and stuff. That people are just gnarly to each other, and it's just not a great place unless you're going in there with the eyes of trying to break into somebody's life and make a difference in their lives. The kinds of conversations just are not edifying at all. But that being said, bands like Megadeth have an opportunity with the audience that they have to bring a message to people that they're otherwise not going to hear. And so I don't know how well received this song was when it was released, because this didn't get released until, I think it's at least 10 years old, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I think it's it's aged already. I'll just say that. Not one of their newest efforts. But hopefully it's made the difference in some people's lives to really get them thinking and pondering about eternity. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, right? So I love the song. I think it's great. I think it's amazing the way that the song starts and just shreds your face right from the very get-go. So I don't know what you guys think of the song. We got a few minutes to talk here. Hey, Darren, great to have you here, my friend. And James Nelson, great to see you as well. But if any of you guys have heard that song and have any thoughts on it yourselves, I'd love to hear from you. Never Walk Alone, A Call to Arms by Megadeth. What an interesting and powerful song and fun to listen to as well. So, hey, Darren, by the way, Darren and I were talking earlier this week, and he's got a cat that lives with him that is just a gorgeous, beautiful cat. Absolutely beautiful. And you just happen to have a rare opportunity, it sounds like, to actually hang out with the cat because you don't normally get that. So I'm pretty partial to kitties for sure. But anybody have any thoughts you want to share on what we listened to at all? Love to get your reaction too. By the way, we're already entering into the month of September, and before you know it, the leaves will be falling and the temperatures will start dropping. And I'm actually looking forward to autumn. It's my favorite time of year. It just reminds me of God's taking death and then in the spring bringing life to bear out of it. You know, it to me, the seasons are just a great reminder of God's faithfulness and also of the gospel and how God takes something that once was dead and brings it to life, new life in the spring. So James says he loves that song. It has a great message. Yeah, it does. It does. And there's nothing, extraordinary in that sense about it. But I think he takes some good, solid metaphor, if you will, and brings the scripture to life, right, for people that have never actually heard the message of Christ. Yeah. Yeah. At least I'm not the only one dropping here, no doubt. Hey, I can empathize with you, brother. Believe me, I can empathize with you. But yeah, so that's a great perspective too on oh, Adeliza, yeah, I tend to listen to music and put my own worship words in. That's great. I love that as well. Yeah, and honestly, I think some of the most worshipful music for me are songs that don't even have lyrical content many times. I love classical music. I like Bach organ music. I like Vivaldi music for the violin as well as the cello. And I love the clarinet. And I can listen at length for many hours to music like that and worship God in the midst of that, knowing that many of these guys who composed the music didn't know the Lord. I think Bach definitely may have had a heart for the Lord, at least at one point in his life. But pagans can put together amazingly awesome music as well, and the Lord can use it in your life for sure. I just love music. I love it all. Yeah, I know we like to bang on country music sometimes in the metal community, but believe it or not, there's even country songs that I like. Oh my gosh, I love bluegrass. By the way, if you like even a little bit of bluegrass music, there's a band called Fade to Bluegrass, and they do Metallica covers, and they're awesome, man. They're so good. But yeah, so I had fun with you guys today. I know that at the beginning of this I was muted, so sorry about that. And before I post it to YouTube, I'll have to do a little editing to get myself synced up in that. But with that, guys, I hope you have a great week. I love you guys, and I hope that you spend time meditating on God's Word and spend time in prayer this week, really considering what it means to be in Christ and who I am in Christ. I'll encourage you to do that. Go read Ephesians chapter 1 and see the greatness of God and what He's done for us. Okay? With that, I am signing out.